painting, and theatre are all keys that unlock profound human understanding and accomplishment. Good morning, everyone. I, Devansh Bhardwaj.
And I, Shitakshi Chaudhary, welcome all of you to the last day of Meraki, a week-long performing arts festival of Khitan Public School. Meraki is a Greek word that means to put soul, passion, and creativity into what one creates or produces. The Performing Arts Department of KPS, along with students, will be celebrating the festival to showcase the talent and creativity of our students in different facets of dance, theatre, and music.
Meraki is a student led program that reflects the joy of creation and is aimed at sharing and creating exciting aesthetic skills. The theme for this spectacular event is Community Transition, the New Normal. This festival showcases the transition between the past and the present lifestyle and conveys the notion that life has changed, but creation has not stopped. Even though change can be difficult, but most of the time it's for the best.
In the past week, the event Meraki commenced with some super performances by the students. We had the privilege to have the distinguished guest speaker, Dr. Kaustavi Sarkar, an educator and a scholar. She has been performing and teaching Odissi in the Ohio State University.
We feel honored to welcome our eminent guests, Srimati Geeta Chandran and Mr. Faisal Al-Qazi, our Vice Chairman, Mr. Anirudh Khitan, our Principal, Ms. Sonia Anil Verma, other dignitaries, along with the audience, to grace the occasion. We sincerely hope that you enjoy this event.
Dance is the hidden language of the soul. Right from the beginning of creation, the first Dhwani Om was derived from the Damru of Lord Shiva through his Tandav dance. Om is the source. It is the vibration and consciousness of the entire universe, and chanting of it symbolically and physically tunes us into that sound. It acknowledges our connection to everything in the world.
We usually commence the event by lighting a ceremonial lamp. Following this ritual on a virtual platform, let us ignite the Atma Jyoti, the light of the soul, dedicating ourselves for the benefit of mankind.
To invigorate us with the language of dance, we would now like to present to you all a Kathak dance performance by the KPS students from grade 3 to 11, together with KPS alumni Shruti Sehgal and Raghav Sehgal. The entire program has been mentored by Ms. Anusya Ghosh Banerjee and Ms. Suman Rawat. Dear audience, we present to you Atmajyoti.
शिव शाम्भवी शिव शाम्भवी हर कला में रस का मंथन नित्य करे सब का गठन नित्य कला जो खो जाए खुद को ईश्वर समीप पाए।
tha din din na na din din na na din din na da din na tha din din na na din din na da din din na ta thei ta thei a thei ta thei ta thei ta thei ta thei di din na din na thei 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 ta 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 thei ta thei a thei ta thei ta thei ta thei ta thei di din na din na thei 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 ta 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 thei ta thei a thei ta thei ta thei ta thei di din na thei 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 ta ta
बाजत मीरदंड तीरवट शुभंग गतीले तगत सब संग तक्रं 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 तिटकतकदिगिन धान 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 तिटकतकदिगिन धान 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 तिटकतकदिगिन धान 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 धाकिट धूमकिट धूमकिट तिटकतकदिगिन धाक्रांध कथा तिटकतकदिगिन धा धाकिट तक धूमकिट तक साग साम माम ग म ग धा धा ध म ध म नि 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 सा नि ध नि ध म ग सा साग साम माम ग म ग धा धा ध म ध म नि 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 सा नि ध म ग सा सा नि ध म ध म ग म ग सा नि सा ध नि ग म ध नि धा 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 ग म ध नि धा
नरतन सबको बाट दिखाए आत्मशोधन की आत्मशोधन की रावतार अहंकार को दूर हटाए सत्व गुणों का मार्ग बताए नित्य सबना का कल्याण करे आओ सब मिला निरतक करे मन मंदिर में दिया जलाए।
was indeed invigorating and highly refreshing.
They've done very nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to have with us Srimati Geeta Chandran, a renowned Bharatnatyam dancer, teacher, and choreographer. She is a celebrated artist and a star performer who began learning Bharatnatyam from the tender age of 5. She has continued learning diverse aspects of the classical dance from a galaxy of eminent gurus. Today, she is a renowned artist who has synthesized the knowledge she received from her guru to imprint Bharatnatyam with her personal vision of the dance. In her dance presentation, she skillfully weaves abstract notions of joy, values, aspirations, myth, and spirituality. A polymath artist, she is celebrated not only for her deep and composite understanding of the art of Bharatanatyam, but also for her Carnatic music, her work in television, video and film, theatre, choreography, dance education, dance activism, and dance issue journalism. She is the artistic director of Natya Vriksha Dance Company. He was conferred with the prestigious Padma Shri Award in 2007, Dr. Sadhana International Empowerment Award of Women in 2010, Bharatanatyam in the year 2015, Tagore National Fellowship of 2018 to 20. We welcome you, ma'am. We invite Ms. Anusuya Ghosh Banerjee, our cultural head, to take over.
दक्षिणामूर्ति समारंभम शंकराचार्य मध्यमम अस्मदाचार्य पर्यंतम वंदे गुरु परंपरम. Namaskaram Geeta Akka. It's a pleasure to see you after a long time. I mean, physically like this, though through virtual world. I still remember, I can never forget, in 2004, when I came to Delhi to do my first solo in Kamani. And you were my chief guest in that program. And I was running helter skelter for a space where I could do my orchestra rehearsal. And the way you came forward, and Gitaka, she offered me her dance room to do that rehearsal. I mean, still it is engraved in my heart forever. Thank you so much, Akka, for that. And though Chitraka has been my guru always, but Manasika Guru has been always you, Akka. I have been following you ardently. And without much ado, I will just go to the topic now. And as in school education now, we talk about art integration. We talk about the role of music, dance, and theater in our education. I just want you to highlight on that more, that what is the role of music and dance in education? And in your opinion, what should be the application of music and dance in our curriculum? In which way? Over to you, Gita.
Suya, I hope I'm heard.
Yes, Akka.
Hi, Faisal. Lovely to see you after a long time. I can see Soma Verma here. Namaskar to you. And my dear students, I don't know how many staff members are joining, so students, I can see many. So a very good morning to you. It's a bright, wonderful day today. Ideally, you should all be in Sundarnagar or one of these wonderful spaces and just running around. That would be the ideal situation. But we are all boxed in our cases, unfortunately, for so months. I'm not here to give you any gyan because I think the virtual platform has become so much of gyan that it's now, from eyes and ears and everywhere, gyan is coming out. So I'm here to just bring out a few experiences that I've had with school learning and teaching of the arts. I come from, I went to a missionary school, And the takeaways of the arts education in school was pathetic. I must tell you that. Because all I did was, there was a Kathak teacher who just taught me tate te tat ate te tat endlessly in class. And that's all we did. And there was tokenism of doing the 15th August and the 26th January and one annual day. And that's arts education in the schools. So I came out of that, and I realized that, you know, I think it's the variety and the range and the scale of the arts in our country that throws off people, and we decide not to do anything because it's daunting. So when I started thinking about pedagogy in my own Natya Vriksha, I started seeing what are the links and how can we connect with this beautiful country. And I don't see any other way of celebrating diversity other than the arts. If you understand the arts in all its aspects and all its facets, that's diversity for you in this country. The best way of understanding and defining diversity is our culture. So I just feel we are losing on that opportunity and talking about diversity in so many different ways, because in the arts is included lifestyle, in the arts is included languages, in the arts is included colors, textures, forms. I think everything comes in the ambit of the arts. So I seriously, when I started Natya Vriksha, teaching dance was incidental. It became more about storytelling, about mythology, about sculpture, about the interdisciplinary aspects of the arts, music, poetry. So I feel you can never learn one art form without learning the other. So the interdisciplinary aspect is so important in the arts. So I feel for you children, the first takeaway is if you want to understand this country, go into the arts. The sense, arts, when I say it's not just theater, music, dance, it's about painting, it's about visual arts, it's about this composite, because arts is life for us in India. It is not seen as something different at all. It's just so enmeshed with our seasons, with our food, with everything. There is a skill of the arts, and you cannot really define the arts, because yesterday I was in a UNESCO panel where they wanted to define an artist. I said it's impossible in India, because right from the culinary skill, everything is an art form in India. How do you qualify an artist? How do you define an artist in India? It's just impossible, because every little thing is a ritual. Yesterday I was teaching dance, and at one point, there was this thing of making the pan and feeding it to your companion. That is an art form. Making pan is an art form. So I think in India, everything is celebratory. It's beautiful. And we are moving to a very minimalistic kind of lifestyle where nothing is celebrated. And we are talking about depression. We are talking about so many other problems. But if you really understand the culture, I think this is celebration at its best in every sense of the word. So I feel you kids really need to travel, to experience, to understand. So your first aspiration should be to really understand India and travel India, and not really go out to maybe Bangkok and have a spin there, but to go to one of our beautiful places and experience the living tradition of Banaras or of Tanjavur or of Guwahati. Every place has so much to offer. So this is one thing I would like to tell all of you, that the best way to understand India is through its arts. The second thing I would like to say about arts in the schools, which I have been associated with for some time now, and using one school as an experiment in UP and trying to do some things which are different in that school, is that we compartmentalize things in school, and we see everything in silos. Kathak dancer, Bharatanatyam dancer. I think we need to see dance, period. A break from all the genres, because this is not the time to break up into genres. This is a time in school to understand movement, to understand body, to understand body mind connect. If we break it up too much, I think we lose. Then everybody is holding on to technique, everybody is holding on to their own gharana. All this is completely meaningless. For a child, arts has to be defined in a very broad sense of the word. How do you understand breath? How do you understand, even if you take a hand, what is the aesthetics of that movement? How do you use your fingers? How do you use your spine? What does it convey? So, anything that is expressing something, body language. I find it offensive nowadays when little children, the way they move, the way they talk, the way they walk, it's so sad. It gives a body language which even they don't realize is offensive. So I think these are the things that you need to understand about your body and what its potential is. What is the body capable of doing? The best the videos have to be shared. Guided viewing, I think, is so important, because in schools we don't have that much of time to create artists. We can't create best performers in school, but we can create rasikas. We can create sensitive audience members, and from there, if anyone really wants to pursue it very seriously, you tell the parents, and they need to take formal training in the best places. But school is not the place where in two classes in a week you can create, Yamini Krishnamurtis and Birju Maharajas. You can't do it. What you can do is give a sense of how great the tradition is. What are the, you can, I have always been in favor of not even breaking up in class 6 and saying, so many people go to theater, so many people go, you can choose. And then the theater people know nothing about dance and music, and the dance people know nothing about, the others. So I have, in that particular school, always said that you can break up and learn, but I think 2 classes in a month have to be a combined class where you view a film and you review it, or you write about an experience of a Speak McKay program or something that all of you have seen. Because ultimately you can't break up things. Everything is a whole. So I really feel that, the child's mind is the same, and the child's mind comes from a geography class to a dance class and then moves on to a maths class. But we as arts people don't realize what is happening before and after, and we try to just push our agenda. So I think there is this holistic thing, and in that particular school, I have made all my teachers, arts teachers. Firstly, I've made them introduce themselves as, I am from the arts faculty. When I went there, I am a Kathak dancer. मैं तबला सिखाता हूँ. There is no feeling of community amongst the artists. And that's so important, to have a credible, strong voice within the school to say, you are the arts faculty. So and then I said, why Yakundendu? All the time there is Yakundendu. I said, you have a Sanskrit teacher, you have a Hindi teacher, ask them to give you the best poetry. And now we have at least 15 beautiful songs that the Sanskrit department, the Hindi department has given them, and they have composed, the music department has composed, and the dance department has set it to dance. So, in-house understanding of what is possible within the school and exploring what is already there as a resource in the school, because I think we really have lost the plot if we break it up. We have to see the whole thing as a family. And then the other thing is the hierarchy in the school vis-a-vis the arts. I feel I brought all the other teachers, the subject teachers, and told them, if a child is going out for a rehearsal for something, please, because I have heard this endless amounts of time in school and college. Jao dance karo, maths kaun karega pata nahi. Now, this kind of an attitude towards the arts of the other teachers, I think it's very important to bring all the subject teachers on par and make them understand what is the school's vision vis-a-vis the arts. It really bothers me, because unless a history teacher, math teacher, and an English teacher also understands the value addition through the arts, it is not going to happen. because the child, again I say, you are kind of saying one thing in an arts class, and then you go to a maths teacher and the same maths teacher demolishes what you've done in an arts class. So I seriously feel that there has to be much more understanding. And similarly, I'm not saying that the arts teachers are actually sitting in the scholastic classes in those schools, because to understand what's happening in grade 3, what is happening to the child and what is the child doing in the scholastic schools, is equally a responsibility of the arts teacher. So I just feel these connections have to be reinforced. I'm not saying anything new, I realize, because these are real problems. And I'm not talking about policy, and I'm not talking about the the education framework, all that. I think these are small things that we can start in the schools. And I have seen that outcome is, huge. And of course, the parent profile. The parents need to be brought on page. I think we constantly need to dialogue with the parents and educate them about the value that arts brings in how it enriches the life of a student. Because I've seen so many parents being the problem. If somebody wants to take up music, somebody wants to take up dance. So every management has a responsibility of actually engaging with the parents every now and then and trying to bring them on page, because the stakeholders have to be all looking in the same direction. Otherwise it's not going to happen. Anasuya, I know it's a long program for you, so I would not like to go on and on. A teacher can never keep quiet. So a teacher is always wanting to talk. So dear children, lovely young faces with full of hopes, and please don't get disheartened. This too shall pass, and we'll come out emerging stronger, happier, and hopefully with a better vision for education. Because now technology has become a huge game changer, and I hope we use technology judiciously, because in the arts, I feel technology can do that much, because the human endeavor and the personal connect can never be substituted by technology. I seriously feel that. But yes, we've got so much access in terms of material on the virtual platform now, and we need to sensibly use that material and make it into teaching tools. Thank you so much for asking me.
Thank you, Gita ma'am, for enriching us and highlighting to those points which has been issues for years and years. And you have opened up so many avenues in front of us, because we are standing on the verge of 21, and we are planning our, as Sonia ma'am is here, our curriculum, and to give it a shape newly and everything. So your opinion, your points were very important and valid, and students, they have also realized what is art within short span of time. And it is never like, when we hear you, it's like endless. We want to continue this, but we, yes, as you said, we have time restrictions here. But Gitaka, without your without listening from you, your music, yeah, we just a song from you, because there are, our young musician friends are also here, and it's beautiful. So we just want to hear a small song from you, anything which you like.
Well, this is what Bharat Ratna M.S. Subbulakshmi sang in the UN. It talks about peace. It talks about harmony. It's just 2 lines. Maitrim bhajat akhila hrijetrim. Maitrim bhajat akhila hrijetrim. Maitrim bhajat akhila hrijetrim. आत्मवदेव पराणपि पश्यत आत्मवदेव पराणपि पश्यत युद्धं त्यजत स्पर्धां त्यजत युद्धं त्यजत स्पर्धां त्यजत त्यजत परेश्वर क्रममाक्रमणम् त्यजत परेश्वर क्रममाक्रमणम् मैत्रीं भजत अखिल हृजयत्री मैत्रीं भजत अखिल हृजयत्रीं जननीं पृथिवीं कामदुधास्ते जननीं पृथिवीं कामदुधास्ते जनको देवः सकलदयाळो जनको देवः सकलदयाळो दाम्यतदात दयत्वं जनता दाम्यतदात दयत्वं जनता श्रेयो भूयात् सकलजनानां श्रेयो भूयात् सकलजनानां मैत्रीं भजत अखिल हृजयत्री मैत्रीं भजत अखिल हृजयत्री
Akka, I mean, sometimes you made me so nostalgic. When I listened to all of you, I think the life would have been so beautiful if the entire life would be with our gurus, always. You know, it's endless. You all are such a storehouse of this knowledge and this song itself. I mean, it spread that message of universal peace and love. Thank you so much, Akka. We'll come to the panel discussion later after we hear from Faisal sir. And over to you, Shatakshi, now.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your inspirational words. We want you to know how deeply appreciative we are for your presence today. Our next guest speaker is Mr. Faisal Al-Qazi, an educationist, theatre director, and activist. Over the past 40 years, he has carved out his own niche with his group, Ruchika. He has directed over 200 plays in Hindi, English, and Urdu. Most recently, two plays written by him, namely Noor and A Quiet Desire, have been produced. In addition to this, he has directed over 100 productions for schools all over India. We ourselves were fortunate enough to have him as a director for two of our school's annual productions. He is the son of late Mr. Ibrahim Al-Qazi, one of the most influential theatre and drama teachers in the 20th century. Mr. Al-Qazi is actively involved in the field of heritage education, initiating projects in Delhi, Jaipur, Srinagar, and Hyderabad. He has written 20 books, including Rang Biranga Rangmanch, which has sold 50,000 copies. He is also a counselor with the Sanjeevani Society for Mental Health, and in the field of disability, he has directed 30 films and produced welcome you, sir. Once again, we invite Anusya ma'am to take over from here.
A very good morning, Al-Qazi sir. And it's so nice to see you. Those 2 years, for me personally, I am very much sure that students, they have learned a lot from you. But I, as one of your student on those 2 years, getting the opportunity to choreograph for your theater, I have learned a lot from you. First of all, I still remember that how the sound and chaos and noise and everything used to stop as soon as you used to enter the room in the rehearsal, and how much our children, they have benefited also in the type of language, English, how they should speak it, how should be the dialogue delivery, and also the theater, which I have learned from you. I have tried to learn is the way you use the stage, because I still remember that there were multiple scenes as it happens in theater, and how you demarked the same stage into three different period and time with the set and props behind and with the play of the light. So thank you so much, sir, for enriching us. And today we would love to know, and as much as Gita Akka has also highlighted, about the role of theater in education. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Thanks so much, Anasuya. Nice to meet you, Sonia. Hi, Geeta. Seeing you after a long time. And I'm so glad you got over your COVID phase right in the beginning. And a big hello to Devyansh, who I'm seeing after quite some time. Didn't you act with me in Spartacus? Were you acting in Spartacus? No, in one of the other sequences. Doesn't matter. Okay? And I'm not sure if this other girl has worked, Shatakshi's worked with me. So lovely to be back at Ketan. And we had 2 wonderful years together. So I'm here with my actors, with my colleagues and many friends. And we have to think back just on our own shows in the midst of those terrible polluted nights in Delhi. You remember all of us outdoors, and it was the heaviest. We were in the midst of the heaviest phase of, I don't know, those AQI levels at some atrocious level. And we were doing our shows. Okay, lovely plays, both Magic Years and Dare to Dream that we did together. So I think we are in a very new age. I think Geeta said it so beautifully. And I want to just talk about theater in the pandemic. I mean, just now what Geeta did for us, that beautiful performance of MS Subbalakshmi's very, very famous song, just gave us a feeling that even through this medium of Zoom, which we all know as perhaps the 5th word which is coming out of the pandemic is Zoom, we all know how effectively we can use this medium as artists. It's been a discovery for me, because I'm not the greatest when it comes to technology, but I'm glad that we have a chance to use it. And I just want to talk a bit about that this morning. So I think 4 words have come out of this pandemic for me. We all know those 3 dreadful words: mask, sanitize, and social distance. But I thought I'd like to bring out a 4th word that have all become common household parlance for us, and that is Netflix. Okay? I think we've all got onto Netflix in a big, huge way during these days of being stuck at home. We get fed up of talking to all our friends, and then we turn on Netflix. Okay. So there's been a huge growth, and it's only going to become larger in the digital age, as Geeta has said, and as Anasuya has pointed out. So the entertainment industry, it's a terrible word because we see ourselves as artists and not as entertainers. Each one of us today watches at least 2 hours of actual programming on TV. And we know at the present, thank God, there's a whole range of experience for us to take in. So we are not just stuck with those dreadful serials on Star Plus and many other channels. We have a choice of things to see, and we choose judiciously what we see. But it's always fascinating to me that either it's absolute rubbish or it's absolutely wonderful. There seems to be no middle ground at all. Either we love something or we hate it, or it's so bad that we love it so that we see it just to laugh at how terribly it's done. Okay? So I'm just going to suggest to each one of your students, because I know we're all stuck at homes doing our beautiful Kathak performances under Anasuya's guidance, and it was lovely to see that opening Vandana that was done. Okay? So just 5 ideas for you all to do while you're at home during this pandemic, and then I'll switch to the school. Okay? So just at home, as Geeta so beautifully said, watch things and write a review. Try and see a movie. For instance, last night I saw this new film of Anurag Basu's Ludo. Fascinating. A kind of black comedy, lots of corpses, but all done with a sense of humor. And I tried to think back what had touched me in the whole film. Only one performance really touched me. I personally thought Abhishek Bachchan's portrayal all the way through, and I can see lots of nods coming from the students over here, touched me. And I think it's nice when you've seen a piece of cinema created by somebody who's a good director. And you must remember he did that beautiful series of Tagore stories, which are still playing, on one of the channels. And of course, he's done that very famous Life in a Metro, which is again a great film. I think just think after you've seen it, sit down with a piece of paper or on your laptop and think, what did you like? And then think the next question, which takes us into Gita's territory. Why did you like what you liked? What was it about it? What was it? Was it a feeling? Was it an emotion? Was it the way Abhishek Bachchan used his eyes? Was it the way how the story was constructed? Was it the way how he related to the child? What was it in that particular film that made you like his performance and perhaps not totally like the other Rajkumar Rao's performance, which was brilliantly done, but it never touched me. I felt he was acting. You know what I mean? So anything that you see, you're not all discerning critics out there. I think, for instance, the big one that's taken us all crazily is the big one on the British royal family, The Crown, at the present. And we've all started watching it and liking various people in it. So even in that, just see what is reaching you and how is it reaching you. So if we want to become an artist, it's not only what is being conveyed, but we have to understand how that is being conveyed to us. Okay? So I think that's the first thing to do. The second thought with many young people I've interacted with over the last 6 months and who all want to be actors or theater artists is keep a diary. A diary not only of your own thoughts, but a diary just of your feelings. Because I think we are feeling things very intensely about friends, about family, about mortality, about the future, about our dreams, our aspirations, about our fears about COVID, you know? So to keep a diary whenever you want. I don't think you should do it on a daily basis. That's very constrictive. But there can be an image that's captured your imagination. So many stories at the beginning of this pandemic. That guy who just got off this bus going in the opposite direction and helped that man, pushed his wheelchair for, I don't know, 150 kilometers to get him home. Somebody who didn't know him at all, who just met him in some truck where they were all going back to Bihar. I think there's so many beautiful stories that come out every day of the way that people have touched each other's lives. So whatever touches you, whatever's there at a feeling level, somewhere document it. That's my second thought. My third thought, and I think we all do this these days, is I spend a lot of time in this room, which is my bedroom, in a chair here, and I can look out on the world outside. I think we've all appreciated the huge amount of bird life that has come back to Delhi. A lot of it had disappeared forever. And in the shaft in the house, we have 3 sets of birds who build their own little nests, including a tailor bird, you know, who stitches that nest and all. So we learn so much from observing them. And I learn a lot as a theater director from watching people walking on the road. Luckily or unluckily, I live next door to a bank. So din bhar subah 10 se 2 baje, there's non-stop traffic of people, all with their masks and all waiting in those little cubicles outside, waiting to get in. And what do I look at? And I think Geeta will totally agree with what I'm going to say. We see how people move. Okay? I'm seeing them without sound. How are people moving? Okay? And as dancers and as theater people, we say each person is propelled by a part of their body. So some people walk with their chest leading them, as though there's a string tied here, isse khinch rahe hain kisi ko. Some people walk as though toned, the stomach is leading them, and they're pulled in that way. Somebody else from the hip, and some people you feel there's a thread here, wahan se khinch ke le ja rahe hain aage. So look at people, and what I do is, because there are always people sitting in the car waiting for the bank, or somebody, family members gone into the bank, I make up a story. Inke ghar mein kya ho raha hai? How are these two people related? Are they related? Okay. Are they talking a lot to each other? Are they married? Are they unmarried? Are these their kids? Is this the driver? Okay. And every driver and any mem saab he's driving around, the relationship is totally different. We have that idea every driver is every driver, but every driver is not every driver. It's always different. The relationship is different. So I just watch people walking. I watch the moods of people. I watch these strings pulling them, and I create a character in my head. Actually, what I've done is, you have worked with me, so you know, I'm largely a crazy guy. I've actually written a murder mystery, which I've never written a novel in my life, during the pandemic. I've watched so much through my window, and actually I've created a whole set of characters. I don't know where they've come from. and written something myself. The other chance that we have in this pandemic is read a lot. So read stuff, read different things. You don't have to read a whole book. Pick up one of the classics, read a bit of it. Go back and read the beautiful gems of Hindi short story writing. And I've discovered a lot of that during these days. And as a fifth thing, think of creating something with your friends, as you all have done this morning, that you can present on Zoom. Because Zoom is a wonderful medium. I have done a theater production every week for the last 27 weeks. I had one last night every Friday at 7. So if you want to watch, just get onto Facebook, the Ruchika Theatre Group. That's my group site. All the events are there. And I'll head you towards 3 of them. One of them is a beautiful Hindi story, Tisri Kasam, acted by 2 wonderful actors from my group. You know, it's a Nautanki dancer, and she travels in this bullock cart with this guy who just runs the bullock cart, and just their wonderful relationship, great friendship between these 2 kind of middle-aged characters. So you'll enjoy seeing that. It's very wonderfully acted. There's a lovely play we've done right in the beginning called Lorelei, Lorelei, about an American woman who first prosecuted a man because he killed her son, and then she moved the courts to see that he didn't get the death sentence and that he got only a life imprisonment. A very ordinary, everyday woman, a beautiful production. Another one called And Justice. And if you want to come on to seeing them every week, along with the rest of us and joining, last night I did a 40-minute play, followed by a 1.5 hour interaction with the audience. 1.5 hours. 3 times the length of the play. We discussed the play and the themes and what was there. So just write to us. There's a site. Look at it on the Ruchika thing. And come on every Friday at 7 and join us in the discussion as well. I had the great experience, absolutely the opposite of Geeta's, of going to a school where the arts were central to the understanding of that school. It was a heyday of modern school, Barakhamba Road. And we had just the best artists in every field. I was very lucky to have the greats Om and Sudha Shivpuri as my drama teacher. Sudha Shivpuri, you'll all know, is actually that original Saas from Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi, and a great actress in her own right. Okay. In the art department, I had great artists. In the photo department, I had the wonderful O.P. Sharma. And in dance, we had the one and only Narendra Sharma. And Narendra Sharma ji, we all know, is Uday Shankar's major pupil, one of many, and was a wonderful teacher and very good at working with young people. So I actually spent a lot of my time in school, and the school permitted me to spend 2 hours a day in the art room. So 2 hours a day, I learned batik, I learned tie and dye, I did enameling on leather, I interacted with all my friends, many of whom have become artists. And from that school have come the wonderful dancers, Madhavi Mudgil and Rasika Khanna, the wonderful photographers, Pablo Bartholomew and Ram Rahman, the wonderful theatre people, Maya Rao and Namika Aksar and Anuradha Kapoor, who headed NSD for many years. So the school nurtured all our talents tremendously. And just as Geeta told you, so I had enough theatre because I came from that background and I did a lot of it in school. I had a lot of art, which I only explored in school. And because of Narendra Sharma, I had a great interest. I developed a great interest in dance. My mother was actually a Bharatnatyam trained dancer by the great, of course, Bala Saraswati. She's Bala Saraswati's student. So I think when Anasuya worked with me, she was trying to understand how did we weave together dance and theater and music and spectacle and dialogue and make it into one whole. But I feel in India, we have that view. It's not separate. Our dance and our drama and our music are not separate. They're one combined whole. So get out there, start watching things on your own, get together with your friends, use theater. Theater is that great group process with so much give and take. It's very creative because it's from start to finish. It's wonderful because there's always the date of a show, and a show can never be postponed. So we're always stuck. Geeta's having a good laugh because we all know as artists what that means. Koi bimar pad gaya, kisi ka kuch ho gaya, tabachi nahi aaya us din. We all have gone through that. And it's a great part of our imagination. And finally, what you'll remember after school to be very frank, are not your chemistry and maths results, but the time you were on stage with Anasuya ma'am, or the time you were on stage with me when I worked with you, and there were so many talis at the end, much deserved by all of you. Okay, I'm seeing some other faces which look more familiar to me. I think some of these kids have worked with me.
Yes, sir.
Certainly, yes, yes.
Rashi Ratan.
That's right. There she is, looking older. How did that happen? I remain the same age. People say you look the same age for 10 years. I said no. But Rashi was very much there. And I think also was this girl here, Aurora. Were you in my play at all?
Arunima?
Arunima. Arunima. Yeah, with an O. No, was she dancing?
No, she was in music. She's a wonderful singer. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
And Ayushi, were you there at some point with me? Yes, you acted?
Yes, she was
acted
there.
and
Yes.
dances both.
What did you play? What did you play? Remind me.
I was in the Michael Jackson group.
Oh, that's right. And you had that wonderful, my God, Geeta, they had the most brilliant Western dance teacher.
Yes, he's here. He's here.
What was
Piyush
his name?
Asija. Piyush, could you switch on your video?
Oh my God, was he terrific. Sonia ma'am, he's just a delight to watch. And some of the kids were great dancers in school. Absolutely great. That boy who was always with you in the Michael Jackson sequence. Hi, Piyush. How lovely to see you. And I'm glad you're still there and hanging in there with the kids because you're a great teacher, as Anasuya is a great teacher with kids. And I really appreciate artists who make that, and your art department, formidable.
Yes.
I'm forgetting
Raju
those
sir
two
is here.
sirs.
Yeah.
One sir always used to grumble, oh God, Mr. Al-Qazi has given me more to make. And then he would make the most
He's
wonderful.
here, Raju sir.
Okay. And by the time we reached the show, we were quite ready with everything.
Yeah, it was a great learning experience for all of us. Yeah.
It was lovely. We enjoyed ourselves. And once this is over, I'm coming straight back to school. So whether Sonia wants me or not, I'll be there.
Yes,
We will
sir.
definitely
Always welcome.
welcome you.
Yeah, we'd love to do that. We'd love to do that. So let's open it up to some questions and discussions. I should stop because I've talked as usual for 20 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, so much. Riddhima, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. I mean, this was really enlightening. Since we're running short of time, I would ask everyone to put in their questions, and if you directly ask, you can raise a hand. That's also an interesting feature Zoom has offered. But by the time you guys do that, maybe I could ask a question to Faisal sir. So you talked about. I mean, I was reminded of this work, Dhori Zindagi by Detha, when you talked about the art forms you were talking about, which ironically I came across in the pandemic only, and I realized, I think otherwise when we were not in the pandemic, you talked about reading, observing, and I think we don't do that when otherwise, we don't have the time to do that otherwise. So what would you say, that shift in approach, do you think that we should take it up like otherwise as well when we are not busy with the mainstream things we are engaged in?
I think a lovely question. And I think, yes, if you want to be an artist, I would say observe. I think it's just the beginning point of any art form, whether you're a visual artist, you're a theater artist, you're a dance artist, you're a musician. Start by observing the world around you, because art is also and primarily a reflection of life. Okay? Whether I'm getting it through a Bharatanatyam Padam from one of Geeta's students, or whether I'm getting it from an MF Hussain painting, or whether I'm getting it from some brilliant writing, my Amitabha Ghosh, or whether I'm appreciating the sculpture of Ram Kinkar Baij, or whether I'm enjoying a theatre performance by Nasiruddin Shah. And I'm so glad he has started doing shows in Bombay. He's done this whole week, he's done live shows in Prithvi Theatre with just 50% audience, but he does a solo show on Einstein. And I think that's great. So observation and really seeing real life around you, and then visiting those themes through a dance, through a theatre piece, through a piece of literature is a wonderful way to go. So as a theatre person, my greatest learning in the last, I must say many 10 years, is the Delhi Metro. Because in the Delhi Metro, I'm sitting there and I have the complete freedom to stare, which I do in any case at everybody. So I can stare at anybody and there's no holds barred because they're sitting opposite each other. And so much of my theater experience and the richness of my productions has come from observation in the metro. You know what I mean? So I spend hours a day looking at people and making up stories inside my head. They may be all rubbish, but it's very interesting as a person. So great question. Yeah, keep that going. Geeta, go ahead. Absolutely.
Feel that's very true. Even in the arts, they always say कि पहले कांसेन बनो फिर तानसेन. Or if it's music, you have to listen to all kinds of music, all genres of music. Not be restricted to your own area. Always push the frontiers and the parameters, not what is the done thing, because you never know what influences come from where. And as a dancer, I think it's only 20% that I have learned from my teachers. 80% by watching dance. Watching the great, watching, and many things that you learn is what you should not be doing also. Even a young dancer you watch, you take away the spirit, but you also realize what not to do. So there are lots of things that you actually learn by observing. I feel 80% is by observing the greats and trying to see how you can, what is your takeaway from that. And I'm absolutely right what Faisal said about keeping a notebook. I used to come back from a program and write what I loved. Like to kind of keep with how I can integrate it. And you never know, many things just stay in your head and you're creating something and you just immediately connect and you say, yes, that was so beautiful. I think I can adapt it to this particular situation. So somewhere something clicks. And I seriously feel, please don't do things for stakes. You're on a generation where you're in a sense programmed to do things with stakes. Please learn to do things with no stakes. And I feel, for me, more and more as I am teaching and evolving, I think the end product or the performance is becoming pointless. It's the process. That you remember. It's the process that is the takeaway. Performance is a small aspect of learning the arts, because as Faisal just said, the team, the arts director, the musicians, it's what you enjoyed in the process that you remember, not so much about the performances and what happened in the performances and how many people stood and gave you a standing ovation. Yeah, that is important. I'm not saying it's not, but I think the process is what enriches you as a person, because that teaches you discipline, that teaches you teamwork, that teaches you to kind of admire somebody else's talent and how that person is bringing in that energy into the production. So I think it's all of this. Arts learning is not just a skill, imparting a skill. It's imparting so many other life skills. Whereas.
Very true.
Thank you. Ayushi, you had a
Very true.
question.
Very well said, ma'am.
What do you want to?
Yeah, thank you so much, Ridhima, first of all. And I'm a bit disappointed because I cannot touch both of their feet because of this medium. But I would like to mention one thing. Geeta ma'am mentioned that parents are not on the same page nowadays when a child is trying to, pursue an form of art. Even when I started dancing, my family was not very supportive, except for my mother. But slowly, gradually, they came to the point when they started supporting me, and I even took it as a subject, and I am trying to, pursue it as a profession as well. But many parents out there who are listening to both of you today, they are not very passionate about, they are not very comfortable with the idea that their children would pursue dance or fine arts as a subject or a profession. So what would you like to say to them? You, after all, you both are experienced artists and you have come across many people like them. So what would you like to say to them today?
I think, it's an opening avenue. You must always remember your parents are from a different generation, okay? A generation where we just thought of lawyer, doctor, engineer, at the most teacher. Larki hai to teacher. You know what I mean? And now I think we've opened our minds to IT as a big, big area. We've opened our minds to travel and tourism as a big area. And we've opened our minds completely to media in the last 20 years. So I know I used to teach at the Jamia Media College. So I taught Barkha and many of the greats of TV now. But I think parents slowly take time to adjust to the reality. And I think that's why I started with this image of Netflix, because we feel that the biggest growing industry in the world today is the world of what you're going to see in the digital medium. You know what I mean? And as you see it, you realize there are crores of people who are there, from the light boys to the writers to the people who are programming to the actors to the writers to the directors, you know. So it's a completely new avenue which is there. So I think parents are increasingly beginning to understand that the dimensions of a profession and the dimensions of the possible professions that are there in front of us are huge. As we hear this big, big word, don't we? Startup, startup. And startup can be anything. It can be of any sort. It can be from food delivery. It can be from looking after pets. It can be from walking dogs. And what kind of startups you hear of in Delhi today and across India, it's very impressive. So I think it's a process of understanding. Parents you need to help bring these ideas to your parents and have a chance, as your school is giving you a chance today with Geeta and myself, to speak to people who are professionals in the field. And what are the possibilities there? The possibilities are immense, actually, to make it into a profession. Okay? And professions can be a combination. What does Anasuya do? What do I do? We teach in school. It's not below our dignity. We don't feel we're bringing down our art form. Geeta works with schools. We don't feel that. We feel this is crucial to our own career. So the combination of doing this and doing our own productions and finding a balance between the two, I think is a big one for each one of us. And I think it's great. Uh, that's all I have to say. I'm sure Geeta wants to add something.
I think it stems from a fact that they don't understand the arts. Firstly, there's lack of information. So I think we need to, as I said, dialogue and talk. Second thing, they don't understand the word passion. I think we need to make them understand what passion is all about. Is it okay to be a mediocre professional in some area like chartered accountancy, or would you want to break the glass ceiling and go in the arts? I mean, it's a choice that you make. If somebody is so passionate about something and somebody just loves doing, the person is obviously going to excel in that area. But if you're not passionate about physics and you're being pushed into physics, you might just still do well, but your heart is not going to be there. So I think you need to make them understand these kinds of things, and it's a choice that you're making for life. And as Faisal rightly said, you know you're creating your own professions now. Even as we talk, the old professions are all becoming redundant, because many people at the CEO level are losing their jobs because those jobs are no longer relevant in this pandemic situation. So there is no guarantee that the profession that they are asking you to go is going to be even there in the next few years. The other thing is artificial intelligence. I'm sorry, we are all moving to a phase where there's artificial intelligence. All these areas that you're talking about could be done by the machine. It's all going to be taken over. It's only the arts and it's only creativity that's going to not be taken over by the robot. So let's think ahead. It's this creative resource, it is the mind, and it is this creative energy that we're talking about is going to be only the one that is not going to be taken over by the machine. So let's understand the future. We're not talking about just now, we're talking about the future as well. So I think there are many aspects to a choice that you make, and in no way am I, I have friends who are engineers, and they always say, why do you run us down so much? We also so I'm not trying to say that if somebody is excellent in physics and that's what you love doing, please do it. I mean, that is your calling. I'm not saying, but you can also be a sensitive physician or physicist or whatever, because you learning the arts makes you sensitive. So it's not necessary that you pursue it as a profession, but you learn the arts for various reasons. It's not everybody who learns the arts is going to be ultimately becoming taking that as a profession. But that's what I'm saying. The process of learning the arts makes you a person who is sensitive, who is creative, and who is also passionate about something other than what you're normally expected to do. This could be your way of catharsis. This could be de-stressing. President Kalam used to play the veena. He's not ever played veena in public, but every evening before going to sleep, 1 hour, he used to play the veena. Now, he was a scientist. So there is something very close to your heart that you do for yourself, for your own well-being from inside. So any of these arts that you pick up can be just that. It can be not for the public consumption or for getting your audiences there, but it could be only for yourself as a medium to express yourself.
Thank you. Anshi, would you want to go next?
I want to ask that you both have been awarded many prestigious awards. So I want to know that after achieving these important awards, do you think you have achieved what you wanted to, or these awards make you feel that you should work even harder than before?
I don't think awards really, you work for the award. If it comes, it's all right. If it doesn't come, it's even better. You don't even have the pressure or to kind of justify anything at all. I don't think it matters at all. I think the raising of the bar happens from within, and you raise the bar for yourself after every performance, and you want to better it every time. Or for your student, you're raising the bar, and that is a continuous process. uh, for me, I seriously say that these don't make it may make a difference from the public perception point of view, but for me as an artist, I think every day is a challenge, and if I don't dance for 3 days, I can't call myself an artist. So it's a constant struggle, and the body is a great instrument. It has great potential. It learns very slowly, but it unlearns very quickly. So having these awards don't make any sense unless I'm in the studio working out every day. um, I can't call myself a dancer. So the struggle is on every day, and trying to, and with every 10 years, I think you need to revisit your exercise regimen, you will revisit your diet, you revisit everything, because you are evolving, changing, body is changing. If you need to really stay fit and stay on that cutting edge level of performance, it's a tough walk. It's not easy. So any of you trying to wanting to take arts, let me tell you, it is not something easy. It's a tough job. It's very, very hard to stay there and hang on, because it's a long gestation period. You need to go to the that's the other thing. People are very passionate about the arts, but when it comes to learning the arts, auntie next door should give you all the talent and all the resources. Not willing to explore who are the best teachers. You're not willing to change, go to another city and learn. We've gone to looking for our teachers to Chennai, taken the second class train and gone and slogged, and they've had their moods. They would say, today I'm not going to take a class. All this is part. You have to seek out a guru. I mean, this kind of thing of sitting and say somebody next door should be able to give you, oh, they say, oh, but you're very far away. This kind of a thing doesn't work. You're willing to go to Timbuktu for an IIT or for a, so there are lots of, different ways of viewing things. But when it comes to the arts, you have to be equally discerning when you go to a teacher and when you seek out a teacher and kind of want to learn. I know Anasuya relocated herself from Calcutta, went to Chennai seeking out a guru. Now that is learning. So you have to also not take the easy, and then after that, what is happening? Unless there's a performance, you don't practice. No, The practice, the pandemic time, in fact, we have used it to do things which otherwise we don't get a time to do. All the resources, we've tried to put it all together, tried to kind of consolidate, understand. So there are lots of levels at which you need to work. So this is only to tell you the arts are not easy. And if you are making a choice to go into the arts, be prepared for the grind.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Arunima, yeah.
So firstly, I would like to thank Geeta ma'am and Faisal sir. You have really changed my perspective of what arts is, because before this, before the conversation, before I heard you guys, for me it was just, Bharatnatyam and, classical music or jazz. But then how the way you said, the way you feed pan, even that is an art. And the way Faisal sir said that, मैं बाहर बस traffic देखता हूँ, and, just finding stories in day-to-day life, and just, finding art in day-to-day life. I never thought of it that way, and that really changed my whole perspective of how I see art now. So thank you so much for that. That really, now that I think about it, it really makes so much sense. So yeah, thank you for that. And my question is to you, ma'am. The way you said that, when you're in school, so you don't have to restrict to a particular genre, like you said that there should be dance should be one thing. So my question to you is, what do you think is the right age when, uh, where a child should start learning a particular thing? Like, at what age do you think it's right?
I don't start formal training before 7, because I feel the unnatural positions we take in dance, the bones have to be well formed, because it's very demanding, the formal training that we start. So before 7, I don't take students into my because I just feel that till then they need to just watch and enjoy movement and just dabble in any form of free dancing. Only formal training is normally started 7 plus.
Thank you, ma'am.
Rashi, would you like to go next?
Yeah, thank you so much, Ritumadi. So my question is that, every one of us, every child has this dream in their, has dreamed about becoming an actor or a dancer once in their lifetime, right? But due to this mindset that we have in India, that arts is not really something that you take up as a career, because it's very unconventional and very difficult to pursue. So a lot of us back out, a lot of us don't pursue arts because of that reason. We just get scared by how difficult it's going to be, and we go into more mainstream careers like chartered accountancy, engineering, doctor, and all of that. So how do you think that arts and education can help change this scenario and make all these career options as more mainstream?
Well, I think that's a great question that you've asked over there. And I want to make it very clear that it's universal. This fear of a child going into the arts is not limited to India. It is there in America, London, any part of the world. The fear is very, very palpable. And if you go to New York, in fact, you know that definitely if you're in a restaurant or cafe there, the person serving you, the waiter, is an out of work actor. You're sure. Okay, or an out of work dancer who's not gone into whatever, Juilliard or something or the other. So I think it's a very real fear that people have, and a very well-founded one, of course, yeah. But as with every career, and I think as Geeta said it very powerfully, I think when you're driven and you have a passion for it, and you're able to, that passion shows through in what you do, okay? I know for myself, I've been a director for over 45 years, and I know how many of my contemporaries have dropped off along the way. As Geeta will also testify, many people who started their careers with her have along the way have dropped off or decided not to be there. But why is it that I'm still there? I'm still performing. I'm still getting audiences. I'm able to travel anywhere in India and run with full houses. So somewhere you have to set yourself some kind of a standard. You have to set yourself some kind of a standard. And the standard only comes from the constant learning. The standard comes when you realize every day what you know is one drop in the ocean. Isn't that we always say, सिर्फ एक बूंद, लेकिन उस बूंद के अंदर पूरा सागर है. So absolutely agree when Geeta said all those accolades, the awards or whatever you give are completely immaterial for me. You know what I mean? You recognize, oh my God, I had a very embarrassing moment last year where some uh, some award was being given to me, and I was sitting there, and a man 15 years older to me was sitting next to me, and well-known director in Delhi, and he said, "What are you getting?" Because I'm getting the direction award. And then I didn't say anything. I didn't know what to tell him that what award I'm getting. And then he said, "Of course, you're getting lifelong contribution to theatre." And he was much older than me, you know. So मैं तो बिल्कुल चुप हो गया. I was so embarrassed by that idea that he's going to pick up on. Actually, I'm getting a different award in a different thing. But it was not important to me. I brought the award back, and quite frankly, I don't keep them. I really dispose of them. I never know where to dispose because even the kabadi wala doesn't want them at all, you know. So I just put them away in some cupboard somewhere. Yeah. So I think once you've got the passion and the drive, you're going to make it. You know what I mean? You've got to have that basic passion and drive and the ability. Some people think, oh, I'll be a great artist and copy other people. And that's not you. Okay? Or they copy somebody else's acting. I'll be the next Shah Rukh Khan. I said, well, Shah Rukh Khan has come
Very
and
true.
gone. Why should you be the next Shah Rukh Khan? You should be yourself. Isn't it?
Very
You should be. And every generation, there is somebody who is themselves. Isn't it? Like suddenly out of the blue, we've had so many new actors who've come up in the last 2-3 years. And we're thinking, ये लोग विकी कौशल कहाँ पर था पहले? No? And it's so many years he spent in the industry to get where he's got today. So once you have that inner drive and the inner push, you work at your art every day, there's no way that you won't succeed, I think. I don't know if Geeta wants to add something.
I don't think, medicine is easy. I don't think chartered accountancy, nothing is easy.
easy.
But
Exactly.
just that you feel there is a ladder. 5 years from now, you can see yourself somewhere. 10 years from now, you can, because in a bank you are there. धीरे धीरे करके तुम कहीं तो पहुंचोगे. That kind of a thing. But in the arts, maybe you have your own ladder. There is no ready-made ladder that you can easily, kind of go up. So that's the uncertainty of the profession is what maybe worries many people, and the fact that you don't have these very structured way of going about things. But that is what is exciting. You create your own path, and along the way, many things that I never thought dance entails. I started doing. I started collaborating with other artists. You make your own decisions, artistic choices that you make. Also, you become politically sensitive. You feel you can make a difference in society with your art. So you as you go along, I think you make these choices, and these you take up issues. So that's what is wonderful. And here I would like to say that many people think they are great artists in the head, but they don't do what it takes to become an artist. So if you think it's easy, it's not easy. That's what I'm saying. So skill is one thing, great tutelage or great guru is one thing, playing car is the other thing. So there are many things that go to make an artist. It's not simple as having the skill, you know. So there are many things, many levels at which you need, and this is true of all professions. You need a break at some
Exactly.
point. So it's the same thing with the arts. You need all, and then and you. But what the fact is that you love what you're doing, and you're getting paid for it. So it's a good deal.
Very true. Very.
So since we're running out of time, one last question by Ishita and Vipra. It's a combined question. That
Just a second, Ridhima. I would love, because our alumni is sitting here, Abhinav, who is in DU from music. Abhinav, you have any question to ask? Abhinav, could you hear me? Unmute yourself. Yeah, we are unable to hear you. You are on mute.
Should I ask
I think, yeah, I think he is
first?
unable. Okay, continue. Yes. The last question, yeah.
Ishita and Vipra's question is that since you talked about there's a misinterpretation of what arts is in the society, and so how could we make a impactful? How can we make an impact on the larger audience while maintaining the purity of what art truly is? And so how also can we contribute to the society in a better way?
I don't know if it's a question of popularization. I have my own problems with that idea of popularizing something. I
Right.
don't think everything needs to be popular. You know, art is something which is, of course, it's for an aesthete. It is for the rasika. That is the kind of audience it appeals to. It's not a cinema. It's not there for people to buy tickets and make lots of money out of it. So you're appealing to a very different part of the mind or the intellect or the creativity of a person. So I don't think we have to do anything to change ourselves. I truly feel that we don't have to change ourselves in any kind of way. We have to certainly find ways where perhaps what we do without adulteration becomes more accessible to larger groups of people. Certainly, I'm all for that. So if I'm invited to take a plane to a university and they say, we don't have the money, I said, there's no problem. We will be happy to come and perform for your students. You know what I mean? So I think there's so many via medias towards going there. For instance, just being here today on your school panel, your school is prioritizing the arts and is pushing for the arts in a very real way. And I totally appreciate that. And it's one among a few schools in India who do that. And many schools that I've worked with say it's nothing. It's always exactly what Geeta talked about, that, there's an annual day. Mr. Al-Kazi, please come and do the annual day. And I say, none of these children know how to walk, talk, move, nothing. They say, no, we only do the annual day. We don't do anything else. I said, there's no theater teacher, there's no dance teacher, there's no art department. He said, sir, we excel at academics. But excelling at academics is limiting what a human being is capable of, isn't it? I think all scientists need to know the humanities, all humanities need to know the sciences. And I think that's the requirement of today. And if you look how things are changing, I just read something that came on a news feed this morning. Disney has laid off 36,000 employees. Can you imagine? That's a horrific kind of figure that's there. So as Geeta said, everything is going into this artificial intelligence. Luckily, we'll never see a robot doing Bharatanatyam.
Popular versus the the more elitist forms. We are always looked as elitist forms, etc. But I don't think that is true. I think there's lack of exposure because people don't actually, they have a foggy idea of what Bharatanatyam is or what theater is. They really haven't really seen the best. You go to an arangetram, a young student, and you make your opinion, and you go to a very small recital by somebody in music and say wo to kya hai, hai. You trivialize it. You don't know what it is. So I think lack of understanding and lack of really knowing what you're talking about is, I think, the first problem in many people. It's not that they cannot appreciate something. It's just helping them to get into that little uh, wall that have built around themselves. I think that is important. So I agree with Faisal that we try and address different kinds of audiences and talk to different kinds of audiences and help them come into the pale of the so-called elitist art forms. And as far as making this, like, you can't perform Bharatanatyam in a stadium. There are certain things you cannot do. This is not participatory. You can't be having popcorn and watching something like this. There are different ways of viewing and staging things and there's a different discipline associated with each of them. So the popular culture is something that is there, and we are not in competition with them, or we are not saying that that is in any way, we're not making a value judgment. That is there, and that's wonderful, and it requires a different skill. But this also requires a different skill. And this requires a different kind of celebration, a different kind of audience. So, and it's the intensity of these productions are very different. The intent is very different. So I think you have to understand these things very differently and not mix up, things and try and say that why isn't Bharatanatyam being performed in large spaces? People can clap along and, participate. No, it's not possible. So there is certain like it's a period production that is being done, or there's a ballet in the West. Also, it's the same. A ballet is not performed in a stadium, and you can't kind of do a jig ballet performance. So everywhere there are these different modes of expression, and one respects them for what they are, what each one of it entails.
I just give you two quick examples. We're not trying to be on the Kapil Sharma show. We don't have an aspiration like that. Okay. And the second thing is, I remember being in a gallery and somebody came in and said, "Are ye kya hai?" It was an MF Hussain painting, one of his famous horses. "Ye kya hai?" दो तीन ऐसे line मार दिए canvas के ऊपर. The person next to him said, "This is just sold for 3 crores." Then, oh my God, ये तो बहुत पहुंची हुई चीज है. You know what I mean? So when we put a price tag in our mind to something, we start viewing it differently. Okay? And actually, when we go to a museum anywhere in the world, all we're appreciating is the art of the past. All we know of the Egyptians or the Guptas or the Mughals or anything is all through their artworks. Nothing else survives except the art. Finally, our understanding of history or culture is through the arts. Okay? Whether we know that these sculptural panels are based on Bharatanatyam or Kuchipudi or any form, we understand it differently. And that's all that survives. Actually, what Gita is practicing is an art form that has been there for thousands of years. Why has it survived thousands of years? Is Kapil Sharma going to survive 1,000 years? Never. You know what I mean? So it's a very different search. It's a very different understanding of the world. And we must appreciate.
And also instant gratification. We are not looking for instant gratification.
No.
So all these other forms are instant gratification. You do something and you enjoy it there maybe, and as you are leaving it, before you get home, you've forgotten about it. But a dance program or a theater production makes you think. I have certain scenes of theater etched in my mind for life. I can never get out of it because it's left such an impact. Or a Balama's photograph of her extended arm, it's something that stays with me. And, the whole choreography just comes alive with that one frozen moment. Or a Chola Blondes of, a Shiva, which can be so much more than a whole episode seen somewhere else. That one frozen bronze figure, or a Narasimha that I have seen in Hampi, I can never get out of those things. So these are expressions which can change your life, which can kind of, shake you from inside, which can make you realize that there are spaces within you which you don't know exist. So I don't see a Michael Jackson show doing that to me, or a Kapil Sharma show doing that to me, or any of these other shows. Again, I might sound kind of demeaning them, but no, I'm not demeaning them. It is instant gratification. It's wonderful for that moment. I also love, and I see that, and I find, wow, wonderful. But it is not something that can make a difference to you from inside. It cannot, वो झकझोर के रख देने वाली बात जो है, एक मोमेंट में जो अंदर से जो होता है. I've seen people crying after shows. I've seen people being angry after a show. I've seen people walk out of a show, and for me that has been a big compliment, because it's shaken them from inside. They can't take it anymore. They want to go out. It's fine. That's a wonderful reaction. It happened to me in Gandhi. I was talking about manual scavenging there on screen, on stage. And, it was talking about removing, the excreta of human beings, and Gandhi going and doing it. And when I did it in Chennai to this so-called very elite, polite society, they just walked out. And I said, wow, great reaction. This is exactly what I want. It's disturbed them. So these are
Very
things,
true.
only these art forms can do, not the popular forms.
Yeah. May I, if you allow?
Yeah, last question, sir. Yeah.
No,
Thank you.
it's not a question. I mean, see, I don't have any question after listening this
Yeah,
two
yeah. I mean,
talk.
that's why I have not
Okay.
asked a single question because,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Actually, I just can't resist myself to share this thing. That yesterday night I just started a series on Amazon Prime. Okay, it is all about the classical form of art and the popular form of art. Okay, the story is based on that. The name is Bandish Bandit. Okay, Bandish and Bandit, and I suggest all my students to watch that. There, I just seen two series, two episodes, sorry, and it's all about that. Uh, what is the discipline in classical form of art? Okay, and what is the nature of popular form of art? Okay, so I beg to differ with Geeta ma'am. See, popular art, popular culture also have a classical factor. Okay, so yes, classical is classical, and both the I think now popular music or pop art or pop culture is also crossed a far distance, and that is also not so easy, uh, or not so, just ma'am, just let me finish. Yeah, not so easy. um,
So you're on mute. If
am I audible? Means
yeah, yeah.
okay, okay. So yeah, my point was that see, there is a two type of audience or receiver. Okay, one are who are intellectually or very much exposed or very much sensitive. Okay, so they need something different. One are one group of people who are not that much exposed, that much not aesthetically that much sensible. Okay, but they also need any or other form of art. Okay, so actually that culture, that group of people need something which is very instant, very quick. Okay, because for classical we need to train ourselves, we need to prepare our eyes, we need to prepare our ears, we need to prepare our aesthetic sense to with that language to understand. So yeah, that is all. Means I think the both the things are different genre and different need for different set of people. It's a
Geeta ma'am, would you want to?
yes, Geeta ma'am.
I never said the pop is easy.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
you contradicted yourself by saying, many things that, the discipline part of it. Discipline is part of every,
Everything.
not. I have not tried to demean the efforts or the hard work that goes into pop. It's
Sure.
extremely difficult to stay afloat there as well. I'm just trying to say the difference between, as Faisal rightly said in the beginning itself, we are not just entertaining.
Exactly.
That is the entertainment industry there in full force,
Yeah.
managers and with their entire paraphernalia.
Yeah.
Saying that's easy, or that doesn't require training, or that doesn't require resilience to stay in that field or anything like that. I'm just trying to say that the classical or the
Pop.
theater we perform, we practice is again meant for a different audience, as you rightly said, you yourself said that it's for, but I don't agree that you need to be intellectually, aesthetically very alive to appreciate our art forms, because we go to a small village and perform, and I have seen a huge audience of 2,000, 3,000 people who've never ever seen anything like the classical being moved, and trying to tell me that this is something so wonderful and they could relate to it. So I don't think that it is true that the classical arts really need a background or a preparation or anything like that. We go to schools, initially all the children are very uncomfortable. Oh, what is this ma'am going to bore us for 10 for 1 hour? And by 45 minutes into the thing, they want more. They don't want us to leave the school. So I think it's a question of how you address and how you put it across, and how you are addressing your audience and making them come into the fold of the classical. So I don't agree with the fact that you need a huge background to be able to appreciate an art, a serious work of theater or music or dance. It can touch you, and it's a question of just being, involved with what is being presented. You need to be a sahridayi in the arts, traveling with the artist. That's all is required, and that's all we need the schools to do. Make you all
Exactly.
to be ideal patras to absorb this beauty and to appreciate it.
Yeah, I
I think
completely
we'll
agree
just
with
add
that.
one thing, Raju. I'd like to
Yeah,
just add one thing.
yeah,
I think one is art,
hmm,
and for me, the other is commerce. I don't
yeah,
see the other thing as being art at all. We may say pop art, pop music,
yeah.
and all.
Pop,
It's
pop art is
totally,
a combination of
it's
both of them.
totally going to pander to the taste of the audience. This is art, and that, I'm sorry, that is commerce. I don't think there's any. I don't think it's an overlapping area. I think they're separate. They're separate things completely. The second thing, I think
Yeah.
we've all had the experience of hearing even an alap or something that within 2 months, 2 minutes has reduced us to tears. So, what is it in a musical expression that is so universally understood by people कि किसी की आवाज सुन के 2 मिनट के अंदर पूरी ऑडियंस रोना शुरू कर देती है? It's not a lyric, it's not this, it's touched us somewhere at the core of our being. And art is to touch us within ourselves.
Yeah,
Okay? It is not to titillate, it is to
yeah,
touch. And I think that's very important to understand and not confuse one with the other. So many classical artists have tried to go the commercial way. Many artists, many of my friends who are musicians, who are dancers, who are theater people, but they realize very soon, in दोनों का मेल नहीं है,
nahi hai.
नहीं हो सकता. I cannot do something which is going to work, as Geeta always gives a beautiful thing. We're all asked to do things in the stadium. We don't know how to do things in the stadium. We are not for a stadium. If you want to do a stadium, please get Akshay Kumar, or please get somebody like that. He's not an artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That man is not an artist.
sir, which Geeta ma'am also said so nicely that uh, that appreciation, the teaching of appreciating art form is very much required. Okay, so and for to teach that ability to appreciate any form of art is very much needed in the school level actually. So yeah, and I
True.
was just yeah, I was just trying to highlight that part only, that certain language you have to uh, learn, that how to appreciate any form of art. Visual art needs certain language that audience need to understand. Same as dance, audience need to understand certain language. Maybe that which Gita ma'am example, that villagers are. I am
Yeah.
completely agree with that. I'm completely agree with that because they have that maybe that bent of mind, or that temperament, uh, that quality where they responded this thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
so that appreciation is very much important. Means how to appreciate an art form, that is need to deal by the art teachers during the school level.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anusha ma'am.
Yeah, Riddhima, will you hand over to Devang? Or I'll do it? Yeah. Okay, we had a wonderful session, and these are, these are all which can go on, and more we listen, more we talk about it, more we come to that point, agree and disagreeing, we benefit much more from there. And thank you so much. And now Devangsh will continue the program forward. And Devangsh, over to you, please.
Thank you, ma'am. That was a very interesting and informative panel discussion. We all enjoyed it thoroughly. The next performance is based on Bharatnatyam and contemporary dance styles. Bharatnatyam dance has interfaced with contemporary dance, and new kinetic vocabularies have been created. Draupadi, the fire-born princess, is choreographed under the guidance of Mr. Piyush Hasija and Miss Anusuya Ghosh Banerjee, performed with the students of KPS.
यज्ञ कुंड की आग से जन्मी द्रौपदी आजीवन उस आग से मुक्त नहीं हो पाई। वो हमेशा ऐसी प्रतिशोध की आग में जलती रही। महाराजा द्रुपद की बेटी, प्रतापी पांडवों की पत्नी और कृष्ण की सखी होने के बावजूद भी संघर्ष में अकेली है।
मैं अग्निपुत्री द्रौपदी अपने केश खुले छोड़कर ये प्रतिज्ञा लेती हूँ कि दुशासन के रक्त से धोकर ही अपने केशों को बांधूंगी, और ये खुले हुए केश इन्हें मेरे अपमान की याद दिलाते रहेंगे। मैं अग्निपुत्री द्रौपदी।
मैं ही इस सृष्टि की रचना करता हूँ, मैं ही पालन पोषण करता हूँ और मैं ही इस सृष्टि का विनाश करता हूँ। स्मरण रहे, जब तक स्त्री को मान सम्मान और अधिकार मिलेगा, ये सृष्टि फलेगी, फूलेगी, विकास होगा। और जब जब स्त्री का मान भंग होगा, उसका मान पुरुष के पैरों तले कुचला जाएगा, तब तब विनाश होगा। हर बार एक नए रूप में, हर युग में महासंग्राम होगा।
That was such a magnificent and heart-touching performance. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time.
Completely agree with that, Devansh. I would now like to invite our illustrious guests, Srimati Geeta Chandran and Mr. Faisal Al Qazi, to share their thoughts on the event.
Well, I thought it was excellent because we had a chance at the beginning and the end to actually see your students. And I thought in the beginning, the fact that during the pandemic, they were all recording from their own homes, as I'm doing a huge annual day at the present with 60 kids where they're all in their individual homes and acting. So I know it's a huge challenge for us to create something aesthetic and beautiful. And that was lovely, the opening sequence in Kathak. And equally powerful was this, which is obviously in an auditorium and perhaps shot much before the pandemic, I would imagine. It's been done earlier. And of course, with the very brilliant touches of ma'am's choreography, always very innovative, something very different. I think the wonderful part of having a Bengali who's learned Bharatanatyam. And I think that helps a great deal because then a lot of the things that perhaps a lot of people who come from Tamil Nadu who learn Bharatanatyam, they're not willing to experiment. So here I think what Anasuya has done with Piyush in terms of composition, the use of lighting, space, excellent costuming that was there, and the very crisp presentation, which is always a part of what you're doing in your school. It's made very crisp all the time. And I think therefore it becomes an aesthetic experience. You know, I can understand perhaps the morning was more what kids had learned, perhaps more at home with their gurus, I would imagine. And this is something which is a complete team effort. And I always appreciate in your school, as with several schools I work with, that there are boys dancing with such abandon, that it doesn't become an exclusive female terrain. You know, you have to only think of the film industry, and perhaps somebody who is a great dancer is Ritik Roshan. I mean, just something else. So a lovely morning, very interesting, absorbing, wonderful interacting with you. And I think it's been a rich experience, both, I don't know where Geeta is, but perhaps she'll pop up, and myself. And thank you so much for having me. I've enjoyed being here, totally.
I'm here,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
Okay.
Geeta, kaisi?
Geeta's here, but she's disappeared. I can't see her.
That was
Shakal dikha
internet
do.
issue. Yeah.
Okay.
they haven't
Shakal
put
dikha do.
privilege
Hmm. So Geeta, go ahead. That's what I wanted to say.
I saw the production, and it was lovely to see because working with not so trained bodies is also difficult. And I realize, Anasuya must have had a difficult time because and it was very heartwarming to see boys dance, because this is always, I said, dance is becoming very gender specific, and in schools it should not be gender specific. And I've always advocated chow and kalaripaite as a must in every school, because these are two wonderful forms which lend themselves to awareness of the body. Draupadi is very close to anybody who is, revisiting mythology. I think many years back, I did something called Her Voice with Puppetry and Bharatanatyam, and it was all about Draupadi and life. And when she sees the futility of war and how she ultimately says, "Muchate, muchate," and this cycle of revenge. as kritya, the cause of war. So if you go to primary source, you get a lot of information. So I think it's very important in school to read and see all not see them as characters, to see all the grays in mythological characters is very interesting. It's interesting to see how you have used the stage and lighting. It was amazing because that adds so much to light as a choreographic device and not just say now like that. Guide the audience to see what you want. So it is very energetic and short time what you have to see the strength of mythology, but contextualize it and say what you want to say. So wonderful! Congratulations to the entire team, the students, and everybody involved in the production. Very crisp and very to the point. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am and sir. Now we request our guiding light and most compassionate principal ma'am to address the audience.
Thank you, kids. I think, am I audible?
Yes, completely.
Yeah. So I think there's some technology, gap in between. I first of all pranam Geeta ji and Faisal ji. Both of you have been stalwarts in your profession, and all the students today have been, witnessing, seeing you live, talking to them, and making that real difference in life is something which I would say that they are blessed today. Talking, on this subject which we have been discussing for so long, I would say that in 3 decades of my profession in school, heading schools, I have seen that it is only the arts period where children do not celebrate the first period attendance record of the teachers coming to their classes. uh, Meaning, this is the only period where I have seen all the children in that period running to the class, wanting to take, that live from the teacher what they are learning. So I think somewhere down the line, we all have realized in our professions that it is must for the children to grow with such skills. And both of you have very beautifully elaborated their understanding and their knowledge all about the skills. Adding to it, I would also say that, we are all talking about holistic development of our students. But what is holistic development? Holistic development doesn't mean that I would make everyone to be specialized in art or in sciences. It means that a child gets in school all the different facets in the life which the child needs when the child grows up in profession. The child gets the first basic knowledge in the school, whether it is sciences, commerce, humanities. But what arts gives to a child is the connect, which Faisal, you also have talked about, the connect with nature, connect with people, observation of people. When I talk about personality development, the personality development, how you perceive a person, how the person speaks to you, how the person walks. And adding again what Geeta ma'am has already mentioned, as a person, you are successful only when you admire beauty. A person who is completely into bookish knowledge, after seeing a red rose, would not enjoy that aroma of the rose till that child, till that person has the belief that beauty is going to give me something which will give me, feeling to connect with nature. So what I'm trying to say is that the students need to now identify that these skills are not given as a platter. What they are given in this complete their journey in school is that how they should feel about art, How should they be, stay connected to feel that rhythm of the music, that rhythm of the beats. And these all things are in different form, either your meditation, your de-stressing exercises, your yoga, your pranam. So whatever is coming to you is a culmination of that creative art that is being given to us. And blessed is this group of children, those who are able to live in this technology age. Why I am saying blessed? Because at least now you have a choice whether you can watch music or you can watch cricket. So whatever makes you, stay connected, makes you believe in your own self, I think is something which you should definitely take it ahead. Another very important thing which I was collecting from Geeta ji's and Faisal ji's connect is that you should always understand that art teaches you the way the country had been in the past. If I talk to you history, I think I have in my career not understood Kabir so well till I saw Kabir through a stage drama. I could understand Krishna or Draupadi you've just seen. You could understand the character of a person, the mindset, the way how it was presented well through a form of art only. But we should be always, I think, keeping ourselves positive. I think parents are also now making that that sense be connected to them, that children need to be well versed in other skills other than those academic domains, which is very well visioned in the reformed education system which we are going to take over in next 5 years. With this, I would say I'm grateful and thankful to Geeta ji, Faisal ji, my entire group of student panelists, Anusuya, the entire performing arts team, the entire team of IT supporting and making this festival be culminated today. My heartfelt gratitude to everyone in the back end of media, events, to organize this event exceptionally well, and all the student anchors who have been eagerly waiting and sitting for days with us to make such a beautiful performance be amalgamated. Thank you once again from core of my heart, Geeta ji and Faisal ji.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
John F. Kennedy has very rightly said that as we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. On this note, we invite Anusuya ma'am to express thanks to everyone who made this event possible.
Thank you, Devansh. As we know, the essence of all beautiful art, all great art is gratitude. I take this opportunity to address the gathering with my vote of thanks. I, with my PA team, thank our honorable guest, Dr. Kaustuvi Sarkar, who was there with us on 24th, Padma Shri Guru Gita Chandran, and Shri Fajal Alkazi sir for their gracious presence and sharing their valuable knowledge and enlightening us in many facets of life. I thank our Vice Chairman, Anirudh sir, Anirudh Khaitan, Principal ma'am, Vice Principal sir, and other heads for their constant support and guidance. And also Kamesh sir, Karuna ma'am, and Sapna ma'am, whom actually we are missing today because always when we have our shows, we see them on the front rows. I offer my heartfelt thanks to the event team, Gunjan ma'am, Snehalata ma'am, Kusum ma'am, and Vishal sir for their constant support for bringing up Meraki so beautifully on digital platform. Otherwise, Meraki wouldn't have been happening today. I cannot thank enough Ms. Surabhi, Lavanya, and Jitendra Sharma for their tireless effort in a very short span of time for creating the videography and the editing for these shows. I express my gratitude to the admin team led by Mr. Harsh for being always with us whenever we need them. I am thankful to each and every member of my PA team. Piyush sir, Suman ma'am, Ali sir, Michael sir, Salman sir, Neeraj sir, Shahrukh sir, Agrat sir, Lucky sir, Akanksha ma'am, Parvinder ma'am, Poonam ma'am, and Shehbaz sir for making Meraki happen. They are the charming gardeners who made our students blossom in every facets of performing arts. I also cannot thank enough to our HOD Visual Arts, Mr. Raju Bose, sitting here, for creating the beautiful logo for Meraki. Thank you, Raju sir. My humble thanks to Jyoti ma'am for preparing the comparing team so efficiently. Devansh and Shatakshi, you did beautiful job. Thank you so much. And now comes our alumni team. Thank you so much. This shows that how deeply you all are, rooted in your school till now. I am so happy that Ridhima Sharma, Ayushi, Arunima, Abhinav, all of you gathered here for the celebration of this festival of Meraki and helped me and my team to perform so efficiently on the digital platform. Thank you so much. Thanks to all the parents, because without them, we couldn't have done this Meraki, because they were standing by their kids day and night to send the videos for the recorrection of the videos and to send it back again from their valuable times. Thank you, parents, for always being with us. I'm overwhelmed and humbled by the viewers and the audience on the digital platform. We drew every day, and I'm so touched by the warmth, affection, and goodwill that seems to engulf me like a cocoon, making me feel energized and cherished by all of you. I was humbled by the indulgent affection shown to me by every member, be it our legendary gurus like Geeta ma'am and Alkazi sir and Kaustavi, the guest speakers, or my colleagues. I hope you all enjoyed our Meraki Fest. New ideas have sprung up by listening to our speakers. Seeds of innovation has been sown on creative mind, and we are going back induced with multiple unforgettable memories, which we have witnessed in these 4 days starting from 24 to 28. Thank you all once again from the depth of my heart for making Meraki successful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
This morning is one of the most fantastic mornings ever. I am at a loss of words to express my gratitude to each of the participants and the speakers.
Me too. I'm very excited for the performances taking place this evening. Be sure to return because coming ahead are the events which will glue you to your seats. Looking forward to the culmination of Meraki. I'm Devansh Bhardwaj along with Satakshi Chaudhary. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.